Bobby, Carol, and Doris. Bobby started crying as he wet his pants. He had done it before, and he had been spanked for it before. But it did not seem fair. He wanted in to go to the potty, but his mother had locked him out. He was supposed to play outside and not bother her and Uncle Bill until lunchtime. Still, fair or not, he would be spanked when he was let into the house again for lunch, and so he cried. Carol, who was Bobby's age, was new to the neighborhood, and she was outside looking for a playmate to make friends with when she walked by Bobby's house and saw him sitting on the porch, crying. "What's wrong, little boy?" Bobby was embarrassed, and just looked down. Carol followed his eyes down to his very wet pants. "You wet your pants? Do you live here?" Bobby nodded. "Then why don't you go in and get some dry pants on?" "My mom is with Uncle Bill, and she never lets me in while he is here. I hate him. And when she lets me in, I'll be spanked for being a baby and wetting my pants." "Oh. Would you like to come to my house? Maybe my mom could dry your pants." "Okay. My name is Carol." "What is your name?" she said as she took his hand. "Bobby." He smiled a little and let Carol lead him by the hand, like a small child. As they walked along, his wet pants felt cold against his legs, making him feel very babyish. Carol lived at the other end of the block, and when she got to her house, she ran into the kitchen ahead of Bobby. Her mom was cleaning up after breakfast. "Mommy, I found a friend." "Wonderful, dear." Her mother looked happy at her daughter's success. "This is Bobby, and he had an accident," Carol said as Bobby stood in the door of the kitchen looking half embarrassed and half afraid. Doris, for that was Carol's mom's name, looked shocked when she saw a boy of about 9 or 10 standing in wet pants in her hall. "Carol, I think Bobby needs to go home and change." "But Mommy, that is the problem. His mom won't let him in, and when she does, and sees his wet pants, she'll spank him for being a baby. Can't you help him? Can't you dry his pants for him?" "Carol, honey, when someone wets their pants, you can't just put them in the dryer, you have to wash them." "Well, couldn't you wash Bobby's pants for him? Please?" "Bobby, would you like me to wash and dry your pants for you, dear? You know it will take a couple of hours. Won't your mother miss you? She won't let me in until lunchtime, and then I'll get spanked for being a baby." "Well, your pants wouldn't be dry until after lunch, even if started on them now, and I have clothes in the washer already, with bleach. It would ruin your pants if I put them in there with them." "Mommy, couldn't Bobby eat lunch with us? Please, Mommy." "I don't know. I would have to call and ask his mother. She won't mind. She doesn't care how long I stay out of the house. Besides, she never answers the phone when Uncle Bill is there." "Uncle Bill?" Doris asked. "Oh, he isn't really my uncle, but Mom makes me call him that." "Oh. I see," she said rather coldly. Then she looked at Bobby in his wet pants again, with a little more sympathy. "Tell me how you wet your pants, Bobby." "Well, I really had to go, and so I knocked and knocked on the door, but Mommy and Uncle Bill wouldn't let me in, and so Bobby started crying again. "And now I am going to get spanked. You can eat lunch with us, and I will wash and dry your pants for you, darling. Let's get you out of those wet things. If we hurry, I can put your underwear in the washer now." "Oh, what are we going to put you in while we wash your pants? Carol, would you get Bobby something of yours to wear?" When Carol left, Doris took Bobby's pants off and found that his shirt was wet as well. "Carol, get Bobby a shirt or something too, his top is wet too," she shouted up the stairs. Doris found something else when she took Bobby's pants off, bruises and welts on his rear and the back of his legs. "Bobby, how did you get these bruises?" "I don't know." "Did someone spank you?" "Yes, Mommy lets Uncle Bill spank me." "Did he use his hand, or something else?" "He uses a wooden spoon." "I see," Doris said with some resolve. Bobby was standing nude in the service porch now and was beginning to shiver, partly because he was cold and partly because he was afraid. Carol came bounding in and saw him standing there. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know Bobby was naked." She covered her eyes after one last peek. Her hand was a pair of panties and a flannel nightie. "Those are girls' clothes. I don't want to wear girls' clothes." "I'm sorry, but I am a girl, and I only have girls' clothes." "You could have a dress instead of the nightie, but I didn't think you wanted a dress." "Well, Bobby, your clothes will be ready in a couple of hours, so it won't be very long." "Here, I'll help you," Doris said. Bobby stepped into the panties, which had teddy bears on them, and let Doris pull them up. She was very gentle with his bruised legs, and Bobby liked the way she helped him. Then he let her put the nightie on him. It, too, had a baby print, blocks and bottles, but it was warm and comforting, and best of all, dry. "Now you two go and play until lunch is ready." Carol took Bobby up to her room, which was decorated much like a nursery. "I guess a baby lived in this room before you moved in," Bobby said. "No, it used to belong to a college boy. College boys don't have baby wallpaper." "Oh, that. Mommy put it up for me when we moved in." "Don't you just love it? It matches the nightie I let you wear." Bobby looked and saw that it had the same blocks and bottles as were on his nightie. "I like to pretend I am a big baby, and Mommy lets me. I guess girls like baby things." "Don't you like that nightie, too?" "It feels okay." "I mean the way it looks, Bobby. Look in the mirror, see you look like a baby." "Oh, please don't tell anybody." "Don't worry, I won't. I like to look like a baby, remember? So, if you don't tell, I won't tell either." "I sure am not going to tell I wore a girl's baby nightgown." "Good. Then, I'll put on some baby clothes too. They're what I usually wear at home anyway." "You wear baby clothes at home?" "What do you mean, Carol?" "Bobby, go out in the hall until I call you and I'll show you, okay?" "Okay." In a few minutes Carol called Bobby back in her room. She had on a pink bonnet, baby dress, and black patent leather shoes with lace-topped socks. Her dress did not come down very far, and Bobby could see that she was wearing matching lace-trimmed panties over something very bulky. "Are you wearing baby pants, Carol?" "Diddies and plastic panties, Bobby. Doesn't you mom mind you wearing baby clothes? She made them for me, silly." "Here, look." In Carol's closet were several different kinds of baby clothes, dresses, jumpers, onces, sleepers, all in her size. "Would you like to wear some?" "I think I am." "Well, that is not very babyish, Bobby. Wouldn't you like to try one of my other outfits on?" "I'm not a baby girl." "What kind of baby are you?" "I'm not a..." Bobby stopped, recalling how he looked when he met Carol, and other things that left him unsure if he were a baby or not. "I think I will just wear this, thanks." "Want to play baby?" "I thought we were." "No, we are just playing dress up." "Oh. How do you play baby?" "Well, Mommy gives me a bottle of chocolate milk and I lay on the floor and drink it while I watch cartoons or Mommy reads to me." "Do you ever have bottles?" "No. My mom spanks me if I act like a baby." "Well, mine doesn't, so you can have a bottle with me. Besides, you like chocolate, don't you?" "Yes." In 5 minutes, Bobby was lying on the floor in front of the TV nursing a baby bottle of warm cocoa, next to a cute baby girl of about 9, who was also sucking contentedly on a bottle. He felt strange, but very relaxed, and loved. He especially liked the way Doris had teased his lips with the nipple to get him to take the bottle. About 15 minutes later, Doris came back to retrieve the empty bottles and ask if the children wanted another. They both said yes, but before Doris went back to the kitchen she put a finger inside of Carol's bulky panties. Then she went to refill the bottles. On her return, she gave Bobby his and said, "Excuse us, my little girl needs to be changed." Then she led Carol up the stairs as she nursed her bottle. Bobby was fairly relaxed now, and fell asleep as he reached the end of his second bottle. He awoke to a series of loud bangs that made him imagine being spanked. It scared him enough to make him wet himself, since his bladder was strained with 2 bottles of chocolate milk, and since he sometimes did wet himself when being spanked, especially when Bill did it. When he was fully awake, he realized that the banging was Doris beating the dust out of a rug, and that he had soaked Carol's panties and nightie. He started crying. Just then Doris came back in and saw Bobby sitting in a puddle crying. Carol, who had been helping her mother, also saw what he had done. While Carol wiped up the floor, Doris took Bobby's face gently in her hand. "Bobby, dear, why didn't you tell me that you wet in your sleep?" "But I don't. I mean I did, but usually, I just wet in the day. I got scared, Anne. Well, I think we need to keep a diaper on you when you are visiting. I just can't have you wetting on the floor. You understand, darling? You're not going to spank me." "No, darling. I know that you did not wet on purpose, but you do wet quite a bit, don't you, dear?" "Yes. So would you mind if I put you in one of Carol's diapers while you are visiting?" "I guess not." "Good. Let me take you upstairs and change you, dear." Doris took Bobby up to the nursery and tenderly diapered him. "Since you wet the nightie, you need to pick out something else to wear unless you just want to go around in your diaper and baby panties, Bobby. What would you like to wear?" "I don't know." By this time Carol had come in. "Let me pick," she said excitedly. Bobby, who was feeling very babyish indeed, sitting in a diaper and plastic panties after wetting for the second time of the morning, let Carol choose for him. She suggested a blue baby dress, since Bobby is a boy baby, and blue is for boys, and that was what Doris dressed him in. They all went back down and the babies watched television while Doris made lunch, and worried about what had been done to Bobby by his uncle. As Doris watched, she could see that Bobby had stopped crying and he and Carol were giggling happily. Carol was putting a pacifier in his mouth, and Booby was sucking his dummy contentedly between giggles. Doris had never seen Carol so happy since her father died. It was when her father died that Carol had started wanting to be more and more of a baby. She had refused to wear clothes that were not as childish as possible and had begun to have accidents in her panties. Finally, Doris had given in and let Carol play baby at home. Still, Carol had had no friends since the death of her father. Now here was Bobby, who was a baby for other reasons, but also a victim of circumstances. She could see that they accepted each other, and would help each other grow. By the time lunch was over, she had made up her mind. When Bobby's original clothes were dry, she would have a talk with his mother and Uncle Bill. When the dryer stopped, she took Bobby and his clothes up to the nursery. Taking Bobby out of the baby dress, she found that he had wet himself again. "Bobby, I think you need to be a baby for a while, don't you?" Bobby, who was sucking on his dummy while his diaper was being changed, nodded. "Would you like to live here with Carol and me? And be your baby?" "Yes, and be my baby." "Yes, but I can't. I have to go home." "We'll see about that," Doris said as she pulled his jeans over his diaper and plastic pants. She tossed his dingy underpants in the trash. A short talk with Bobby's mom and Uncle Bill, in which terms such as criminal neglect, child abuse, and battery came up, was all that was required to get Doris appointed Bobby's guardian. A signed confession made sure that they would not be heard of again. Bobby and Carol played baby for the rest of their lives, eventually marrying each other. But, as time went on, they found they were able to enjoy life as adults too. Carol learned that her love mattered and that growing up had advantages that being a baby did not. As Bobby became older, he learned that women could love him in the way his mother had not. Eventually he stopped wetting himself when he heard slapping sounds, and playing baby with Carol became more for fun, and less of a necessary retreat from the world. Doris is a grandmother now, and treats her grandbabies, of all ages, with all the love that she has always shown.